Greetings and welcome to the show. I am your host, Lispy Larry, the mentally disturbed idiot who doesn't praise Chris Roberts, sounds like a spoiled teenager, makes the annoying voice. I think I'm forgetting some of them. They were pretty good though, guys. Keep them coming. So I've had a lot of people ask me on one platform or another, Failure, are you going to do the video on the lawsuit? Look, guys, I appreciate that you want me to keep making Star Citizen videos. And at the same time that you don't want me to make Star Citizen videos. I'm really torn between the two crowds here. But I really want to start distancing my channel from being specifically about Star Citizen, and that was the whole reason for me saying, hey, 3.0 was a fucking nightmare. I'm out. I'm walking away from this game. I'm not playing it actively. I'm going to go do other stuff. And I think it's a terrible idea for a content creator to base his entire channel around one specific game. It's great when the game's booming, right? But if something were to, say, happen to a specific game and it just kind of died or fizzled out or imploded, whatever, you're kind of fucked because your audience wants to see you play that game. It's really, really popular thing with Warframe content creators, right? They'll try to switch out of Warframe, but nobody wants to watch them play fucking Destiny 2 or whatever, right? They wanted to watch that person play Warframe. And that's kind of the reason why I'm trying to broaden the channel and move away from just being Star Citizen, in hopes that I kind of am able to attract a more like general gaming audience. And that's not to say that I don't love you guys who have been with the channel for a long time. Those of you who are newer viewers and you're here to watch me get triggered and rant about Star Citizen, I appreciate you guys too. But I really do want to kind of move away from just talking about Star Citizen. And, you know, I have a couple different reasons for that, but I guess, you know, let's tale for another day. Now, I have been told at least a dozen times, though, in the last few weeks that I'm retarded. I'm only making videos for the views, to boost my ego. Let's see, what else was there? To make fat cash from YouTube, because, you know, my lifetime ad revenue is something like $100 since I would never turn ads on my current videos until there was a new upload. Oh, I always forget to beg and plead for subs, likes, and shares. Oh my god. And on top of it, I always forget to plug my Star Citizen referral key like everywhere possible. In my video, in the description, like everywhere. Guys, look, if any of you guys want to go out and spend $45 to get into Star Citizen, it's a groundbreaking, amazing, gonna blow the whole industry away, MMO shooter space sim. Please make sure you use my referral key, okay? I really want to stress that. Please use my referral key. Guys, have you seen my referral key? Please use it. But I guess it's too late for all of that, though. Because as I'm now well aware, the rules in the Star Citizen universe, they don't apply if you're against the project. As long as you're telling everyone how incredible things are going, how well the project's doing, hey, it's okay. You can promote yourself and milk the suckers. But if you're against the project, don't you dare even talk about it. You can't even mention it. It doesn't matter if you backed the motherfucking thing 5 years ago. You don't have the right to talk about Star Citizen. Even though you're not playing it anymore, you can't talk about it. No, that you'd just be trying to promote your videos and milk the views and get subs. Even though, you know, I don't promote my videos and I don't post them anywhere. But if I did, I would be one big piece of shit just trying to get attention for my channel, right? So, I guess, to answer your question, my friend, no, I won't be talking about CryTek lawsuit. At least that's what I would say if I was fucking retarded. Look, if PC Gamer, Kotaku, and every other fucking major gaming media outlet is allowed to talk about it, I think I've earned the right to talk about this as well. So, no. If I talk about something, especially something as major as this related to Star Citizen, it doesn't mean I'm getting back in. It's not time to go, oh, Failure's back in, boys. He just can't stay away from Star Citizen. It means I feel like fucking talking about a part of the game development or the company or whatever, whether it be them doing something major and stupid like fucking land sales literally right after the EA Battlefront 2 fucking loot box fallout, or them getting sued by CryTek. Both of them are pretty major things. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about them. Just because you get off the Titanic and you're being rowed away in a lifeboat doesn't mean you're not allowed to look back at the Titanic and watch the fucking thing go down. What kind of fucking logic is that? It makes no sense. Stop saying failure's back in. Failure's not back in. I'm not playing the fucking game. I'm not putting money into the game. I am fucking done. Yes, I enjoy talking about it because, for one, I was both emotionally and financially invested into this game for over 5 years. So, guess what? I'm going to talk about it. I'm sure some of the more passionate backers would love me to stop talking about it, but guess what? It's going to keep happening. If they keep doing stupid shit, I'm going to fucking talk about it. So, on that note, let's do this thing. Now, if you're a newer Star Citizen backer, you might not be aware of this, but CryTek are the owners of the CryEngine in which Star Citizen was essentially born. And I say you may not be aware because some time ago, Cloud Imperium Games decided, hey, we should start removing anything that mentions CryEngine or CryTek from our game splash screen credits, videos on YouTube, etc., etc. And as you can kind of imagine, this made CryTek a might bit upset. Because according to CryTek, not only did they make the initial Kickstarter video that you could easily argue propelled Star Citizen off of the ground in the first place, but they also had a host of agreements with Cloud Imperium Games. And some of the major ones that I want to kind of focus on is that Star Citizen will be given the license to develop one game, which must be made solely using the CryEngine game engine. Cloud Imperium will credit and promote the CryEngine and the CryTek brand through various means and credits, such as logos and watermarks in presentation material, etc., etc. And I want to focus on these two because they're very major ones. And the complaint filed by CryTek against CIG is just so fucking big that to go through it at any reasonable, the video would just be way too long. And these are the two major points that I kind of want to hone in on a little bit because they're really easy to look at without needing, to see in detail evidence. So let's focus on those two. First and foremost, let's start with the Star Citizen will be given the license to develop one game, which must be made solely using the CryEngine. Now, there are two very standout parts here about this first complaint we're talking about. If you aren't aware, Star Citizen used to be a 2-in-1 package. You bought your game package, and that came with your starter ship, as well as Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So back in the day, it was easy for CIG's legal department to say, hey, we're making one game with this license because it's one purchase. Then someone said, hey, we should split these two products up as separate sales, which, in CIG's defense, evidently it was because backers were complaining about it, like, oh, I only want Squadron 42 or I only want Star Citizen and not the other. Which, if you're backing a game that isn't going to come out for 5 years, I'm not sure how the extra $15 is going to kill you, but whatever. So that one right there might be an easy win for CryTek's legal team, if the allegation is true that CIG was sold a license for only one product. The next part of the complaint is that CIG must only use the CryEngine for the development of Star Citizen. Now, this is the really interesting one to me for two reasons. CIG has been claiming for a long time now that they were not using CryEngine, that they were using an in-house CryEngine on steroids that they were branding as Star Engine, up until a few months back when they announced that they were switching over to Amazon Lumberyard. Now, if CryTek's complaint is legitimate, and they had CIG signed into an exclusivity clause, and there was no termination clause attached to it, CIG essentially handed CryTek another very easy win, since Cloud Imperium has been boasting about Star Engine and the Lumberyard switch for a good long while now, and very publicly. But that isn't the part that I found interesting with that complaint. It was the exclusivity clause without termination option. A lot of people have dogged CIG for trying to make Star Citizen work on an old engine that was known for making single-player shooters, and not much else. After CIG's crowdfunding exploded, a lot of people, both backers and critics, kept asking, why is CIG still trying to use CryEngine instead of going with better options, or just creating their own engine? They certainly have the funding now. And this complaint may very well expose the reason that CIG was forced into essentially struggling up an icy hill with rollerblades while trying to carry Ben Lesnick on their back. If they were bound contractually to using CryEngine for Star Citizen's development, they couldn't pursue better options. However, as most probably know, if you're a few years into Star Citizen's development, CryTek started hemorrhaging employees, and it looked to be kind of starting its slow death spiral into oblivion. And after absorbing a good bulk of CryTek's former employees, it's very likely that CIG figured, hey, CryTek's going to be dissolved pretty much any day now. We could probably go ahead and start moving away from our contractual obligations, including moving over to Lumberyard. What are they going to do? Sue us from their deathbed? Now, all this is speculation, and unfortunately, we may never know, but the concept makes a lot of sense and answers some of the biggest questions backers have had regarding Star Citizen's development and its engine choice. And this also leads us up to the next major complaint from CryTek, that CIG will both credit and promote CryEngine during the development and promotion of Star Citizen. Now, there really isn't a lot to go into depth here because it's pretty obvious going back years and years that, well, CIG's never really done that. If this complaint was in fact one of the agreements between CryTek and Cloud Imperium, then CIG's pretty boned on this one. However, I wanted to mention this one because of the fact that CIG has done exactly the opposite, as they have said for years they're using their own offshoot of CryEngine called Star Engine, and then recently saying that they switched over to Lumberyard. Now, I'm really lazy, so I just put a few seconds into Google to try to pull up some Bug Smasher episodes, and it takes very little effort to find all sorts of CryEngine text all over the screen. Now, I'm not going to dive into the theory that Star Citizen never actually switched over to Lumberyard, and that they are in fact still using CryEngine. However, I do want to point out two quick side thoughts. The first is that it shows they are still using some form of CryEngine, unless for some really odd reason Amazon decided not to brand their product, which seems like it would be strange, but I guess it's not outside of the realm of possibility. The second is that they are in fact still using CryEngine, which gives further weight to another one of CryTek's complaints, and that is that Cloud Imperium is devaluing their proprietary property by broadcasting their code in shows like Bug Smashers, etc., etc. So, with CIG essentially, if the complaints are true and accurate, handing the evidence over to CryTek's legal team hand over fist, it brings up another issue, and that is there's a lot of heated debate over CIG's funding in recent years. Does the store track only new sales, or does it count any sale that occurs on the RSI site, such as credit purchases? And the fact is, we'll never know because CIG removed the clause from their terms of service that would have forced them to show backers the financial data. However, even if CIG's funding tracker is accurate and it's only new sales, and they have made $174 million in funding over the last 6 years, you can be rest assured that the bulk of that is probably already spent. Other game studios operating with much less employees and not spread across 5 different studios have burned through tens of millions every year. So CIG's coffers might not be bankrupt, but they're very unlikely to be flush enough to settle a large lawsuit. I bring up funding not because I want to dog CIG's wallet or anything like that, but because I've seen a lot of backers and let's call them faithful content creators saying, well, the worst case scenario is that CIG has to pay some small settlement and CryTek can go fuck off and die in a corner somewhere. Everything's fine. Okay. Oh, man. That's so precious. Let me run you by a worst case scenario. And it's not even worst case. It could be much worse, but this is just, one of the more likely worst case scenarios. Firstly, it starts with an injunction against Cloud Imperium. This injunction could range anywhere from locking CIG from having further funding through sales to the more likely cease any and all work on the project, because if CryTek's case relies on their legal team showing in a courtroom that CIG is using CryEngine outside of the boundaries of their licensed terms, the last thing CryTek's legal team wants is CIG going through the game, their forums, or YouTube, and trying to scrub out as much dirt as possible. If that injunction happens, Star Citizen goes full stop in its tracks. Boom. Now, Couldn't get any worse, right? Well, corporate lawsuits are a slow process, which will be dragged out in an attempt to get the upper hand. And if CryTek can successfully land an injunction against CIG, make no mistake, they'll have the upper hand and try to leverage that position. Oh, and we should probably not exclude the fact that the legal team that CryTek has hired is the same legal team that went after Facebook subsidiary Oculus and won. So they won against Facebook money, but I'm sure CIG's crack legal team has gotten properly warmed up after running refund requesters in circles for years, so they're probably ready to bat, right? Now, there's one other thing I kind of wanted to graze a little bit, because I believe in being realistic, and these other idiots on YouTube who are, either swallowing CIG's shaft for years, or, I don't know, just delusional, but they want to tell you everything's super okie dokie. A little while back, a studio that developed another game that is near and dear to my heart, Studio Wildcard of the Ark Survival Evolved fame, was targeted with a lawsuit for just their CEO breaching a non-compete clause. That little oops cost Wildcard to the tune of $40 million, and that was just their CEO. CryTek is saying the entire development of Star Citizen violates numerous agreements. Anyone who thinks the damages CryTek is going to be going after in a settlement are just going to put a little dent in CIG's wallet is either insane or shilling super fucking hard for CIG. Guys, please, don't be ignorant. The idea that this is just going to be like a little bump in the road for CIG is just insane. This is very, 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 very serious for CIG and the future of Star Citizen if CryTek's complaints are in fact legitimate. If they're legitimate, this could very well be like the straw that broke the camel's back finally. And I have to say, this entire lawsuit has been an absolute spectacle for me as an onlooker. Like, watching the levels of denial and mental gymnastics that people have been linking me has been an absolute treat after being called a mentally disturbed retard for the last month, just because I decided I didn't like 3.0. So I want to take this opportunity to remind backers to go ahead and make sure you pre-order your new FaceWare camera now, because with this super important, integrated, high-fidelity piece of tech, that way when Star Citizen actually starts pushing into the courtroom and we start seeing details of both CIG and Star Citizen's development put publicly that otherwise wouldn't be. That way, in full fidelity and immersion, your character will be able to make this face as all of that goes public. Until next time, I'm FailureToReport, and I'm off to take my meds.